Boom. All right. Here we go, everyone. All right. We are live. We are together. It's Steve Metrics, and over there, it's your boy, DJ Triggs.
DJ TRIGGS.
Yeah, buddy. And together we're here. We're together with No Debate Sports. We're both a little bit under the weather, fighting some of this weather we got up here in the Great Lakes, but we're getting over it. We're fighting through. So you can always count on us. We're here every week, 7 o'clock Central, on Tuesdays and Mondays, and boom, here we are. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah. So we got the week 4 games pretty much in the books. We got some Monday night football action. But on top of that, the NBA came back to the forefront for a bit here. Our Milwaukee Bucks pulling off a nice trade for Dame Lillard, and then something else happened on top of that. So how about you take us through that, Triggs?
Wow. Yeah, I was not prepared for a whole trade to happen, and then boom, just out of the blue, I'm like, wait a minute. Did they say the Milwaukee Bucks? It's like this is nuts.
Exactly.
But it was kind of bittersweet. Obviously we sent away Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen, and those are big pieces. I mean, especially Drew Holiday coming across with his defense and his offensive game last year with Chris Middleton out. So that was a big blow. And then what I like to think about is, so when you have a couple superstars on the same team, they're going to complement each other no matter what. But when you have two guys that don't exactly mesh, it becomes like a ball hogs, like, oh, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. Kind of like what we've seen with like Kyrie, KD, James Harden, the very few times that they did play together. Yeah. Or like when you seen James Harden and Embiid, it was a big and a guy that wanted to shoot the ball, and then James Harden kind of complained that he wasn't able to be himself and stuff. So this is one of those situations where I hope they can mesh well together, especially like just thinking of that James Harden Embiid scenario. I'm like, oh man, please don't do that, where Dame feels like he has to give Giannis the ball, and Giannis feels like he has to give Dame the ball. But in this scenario, I'm actually thinking, because the quote unquote extras, Brooke Lopez, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton's, Bobby Portis, those are guys that don't exactly need the ball. When you go to Philly, they had Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, like guys that are used to having their own isolation plays. So I'm so excited about Dame and Giannis doing their thing, because now if you set up a wall against Giannis, which he's been okay against the wall, like Dame Lillard's sitting up there going, "Oh, I got you." Like,
oh, totally,
that's cool.
Totally, man.
And then when you double Dame on, because Dame is shooting from 2 feet after half court sometimes. If you double him at half court and try to get the ball out of his hands, now it's going to Giannis, and Giannis is free. Like,
exactly,
he's one-on-one with someone, and there's nobody in the NBA that can guard him.
Do you think, though, with this lineup, I mean, I saw the projected starting 5. Do you think, though, the Bucks would try to do something to bring in some power in place of Connaughton? I feel like he's the one guy that I look at that lineup, I'm like, that's a little odd for a starting lineup. I like Connaughton, but I just don't feel that starting vibe. And to me, based off of Dame Lillard and Chris Middleton being those perimeter point guards, having an extra bit of power up front to go with Giannis. I mean, I don't know if Marshawn Beauchamp is becoming that kind of player, but I feel like there's got to be an added piece of power instead of shooting. with that starting five?
Jay Crowder. That
Oh,
Yeah, Jay
okay.
Crowder. He should be inserted into the starting lineup.
Yeah,
Like I'm not against Pat Connaughton playing the 2 and Middleton's at the 3, but Middleton's more of a shooting guard, and that's
yeah,
like his comfort zone. But we've
sure.
had Grayson Allen and guys like that. Um,
Yeah,
but if you put Jay Crowder out there and let him guard the other team's best player, and then kind of do his 3 and D thing,
yeah,
like I mean, from what I've heard, um, Budenholzer last year did not care for the trade of Jay Crowder, but we sent away so many second round picks just to get him. And
yeah.
then he was so enamored with Connaughton and Grayson Allen, so those guys always played. Now
Mm,
it's a different story. I mean, if in some scenarios maybe you play, like let's say you're playing against the Timberwolves, maybe you play Giannis, Brook, and Bobby Portis.
right.
Um, if you're playing, let's see, like the Phoenix Suns, who have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, KD, maybe you play a smaller lineup with Jay Crowder, uh, Middleton, and Dame,
Yep.
or like and once the playoffs happen, like you're going to be able to set so many different lineups. Maybe you bring Brook off the bench, you play Giannis at the 5, and
Yep.
Jay Crowder, even a Marshawn Beauchamp. I mean, like there's so many different options that I mean, the Bucks just brought in campaign from
Oh, okay. From
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
So like now you have a backup point guard that can come
Yep.
in and do his thing. So they have so many options. Like people don't
Yeah.
understand that the Bucks are deep. Oh,
Yeah,
and
they are.
I forgot. The person that I originally thought was going to take the starting lineup, Malik Monk. That dude's a knockdown shooter. Um, I was so excited when I seen that we got him early in the offseason. So
Okay.
you put Malik Monk at the 2, Middleton at the 3, Giannis at the 4. Like there's so many different guys. And once you get to the playoffs, like only 8, 9 guys are going to play anyway. So Bobby Portis is going to be one of those. Jay Crowder is going to be one of those. Malik Monk's going to be one of those. So, like, I honestly don't know where Pat Connaughton comes in at.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. Totally. Yeah, that's that makes sense. I mean, Connaughton's got that athleticism. I like it. A little bit banged up, but I just never felt like with having Middleton and Dame Lillard out there that it really is as complimentary as it used to be before we had Dame Lillard. So makes some sense there.
Now,
But yeah, it's some good stuff. I mean, definitely losing Drew hurts. But then on top of that, all of a sudden Drew goes from Portland to Boston,
yeah,
and that is very interesting. I saw that picture on Instagram of like the Celtics starting lineup, and I see Drew Holiday. I'm like, boy, that's a weird pick. And then all of a sudden, I looked into it. I'm like, oh, he actually is on the Boston Celtics.
yeah. Boston, man, I'm kind of bummed about it. Like, it's one of those things where I don't know how I feel about it yet. Because they, like, exactly kind of how I was saying, like talking about the Nets, like, so Drew Holiday is going to play your 1. Then you got Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis. Like, besides Derek White, every one of those guys are ball dominant. Like Porzingis, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Porzingis is gonna be that great. Um,
I agree.
he he was putting up big numbers with a horrible Knicks team. Obviously, he was a top pick. That's why they were horrible.
Yep.
When he was with Washington, they were horrible, like the worst team in the league, horrible. So like I'm a little like, maybe. But
Yeah.
with Drew Holiday doesn't need the ball and he'll play defense. But at the
Yep.
same time, like Tatum and Brown literally are so ball dominant that like guys like Peyton Pritchard and like backups, like their bench is really short. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm not that concerned about them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of on you with that. I mean, Porzingis in Dallas was not that great, and I know last year was his best year with Washington. But still, I felt there were times where that Washington team just felt like, oh, we're out of it. Okay, we're not really going to play hard anymore. So that definitely happened with the Wizards. So yeah, it's
No,
kind of an interesting situation. But
so the
yeah,
real quick, the
yeah,
one thing I'm so excited about, and I don't really know how much people pay attention, but I
mhm,
was really, really big on Scoot Henderson. Like, I don't know
yes.
if you remember my draft buzz,
Oh, I do.
but
You
now
love that guy.
Portland, right? Portland has Scoot Henderson. They got Simons, they got Shaden Sharp, they got Jeremy Grant, they got DeAndre Ayton, they got Robert Williams. Like, that team is loaded.
That's a
Like,
team. That is
Matisse
absolutely a
Thybulle is
team.
over there.
Sure.
Um, Keegan Murray. No, which Murray's over there?
No, he's
One
in
of the Murrays is
Sacramento.
over there. The brothers.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
the
the
youngest,
brother.
newest
Yeah.
Murray is in Portland then.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, they're both good.
like they also got a Kevin Knox, who is a top pick for New York a couple of years ago. Like,
Okay.
and then obviously Malcolm Brogdon, but
Sure.
what they're talking about moving him. So, dude, Portland came out so loaded.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's been parts of Brogdon that I liked, but man, all of a sudden this past season with Boston, it was just unenergetic. It just didn't really feel like him. It didn't feel like that passion that I've seen him play with in the past, especially with Indiana and the Milwaukee Bucks. So yeah, kind of how he is now with Boston, or well, was with Boston. It just didn't feel the same. It just kind of felt like he checked out once the playoffs happened.
He was sixth man of the year. So,
Yeah, I mean it definitely showed in the regular season, but yeah, I don't know. It just something felt a little different, but I mean he's going team to team now with these trades, and we'll see what happens. I know he can definitely find a place. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like maybe like a Sacramento or something he could end up on.
I'm not really sure. Like, if he's trying to start, uh, man, I
Just don't
really
go back
don't.
to Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Indiana's not bad. I mean,
Oh,
especially if
geez.
he went there now with Tyrese Halliburton, um, Buddy Hield,
Sure.
Miles Turner, like Benedict Matherin. Like, I really like that guy.
Yeah, that guy's good.
But like, I don't know where he would fit there. Like,
Mm.
I'm trying to think of a team. Like, let me just run through. I'm gonna find some standings here just so I can kind of visualize what I'm thinking.
What about? I'll put this team out there. What about a Memphis?
Yeah, I mean Memphis might be good,
Yeah,
especially with Ja being gone for
right.
what 40
25
games or
games.
something.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I saw it today too. He'll be able to remain with the team. He
yeah.
won't be in the games, but they're doing the right thing with this. That he should be surrounded by team personnel, teammates, practice facility. That's what a guy needs. So it's the right thing.
Ooh, wait a minute. All right, I got the team. Okay, I had to think about this and I put it together. Uh,
Sure.
what about the Brooklyn Nets?
Ah,
Uh,
yes.
I know their starting lineup's kind of set, and
Sure.
I actually like their starting lineup, which sounds kind of weird, but they have
Okay.
Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nick Claxton. So like their lineups pretty good actually. Like when you
Sure.
think about it, uh,
Yeah.
but he could get some big playing time there because I mean they got Lonnie Walker and Dennis Smith Jr., but those guys don't really mean anything.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
There's like every team is kind of set. There's not really I mean the bad teams, they have a solid starting lineup or they're
Right.
super young. The
Yep.
good teams, their lineups are set. So
Sure.
yeah, Memphis might be the only one. Or the
Okay.
Spurs, maybe the Spurs. But they
Right.
have Jones over there. So what is
Yeah, I
it? Is it
mean,
Tyus Jones or Tyler Jones? One of those Jones boys is over there.
I could see Brogdon being a really nice complementary piece to Wembanyama, kind of running the point and then still being able to distribute to whatever shooters they have to go to. And you begin the defense of Malcolm Brogdon as well. So,
Trey Jones.
oh, okay,
Trey Jones.
sure,
They really like Trey Jones. They gave him a pretty solid contract, so he's definitely their starting point guard. Then they got Devin Vassell or Vasil, whichever way you want to say it.
sure.
So and I know they like both of those guys. So even that team, it's weird. Maybe the Lakers,
Okay,
because he's
yeah,
a really solid shooter. So
right,
yeah,
right,
I really don't know. There's no like point guard open because I mean they've got D'Angelo Russell. They signed him to a deal. So yeah, I think you're right. Memphis might be the only place that he can go and get some significant time.
gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. Also with the Lakers you brought up. I forgot his what's his name? The guy who played there in the past. He's on the German basketball team.
Dennis
Is he with the
Schroeder?
Lake? Yeah,
Nope.
Schroeder's. Where
He
did he
is with
go?
Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
he signed a sizable deal to go to Toronto.
Gotcha.
I don't remember how much it was, but
Okay.
yeah, let me see if I can find it really quick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he signed in July.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, apparently I can't find it. What the heck?
Oh, okay. Well, he'll find his way to Canada one of these days. So
Yeah, he's
that's all good.
definitely he's the starting point guard for sure.
Okay.
He took
Gotcha.
Fred VanVleet's 2 years, 25 million is what it is.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, and then Fred Van Vliet, he is with where did he go?
Houston.
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 Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, good stuff. Cool.
Gosh.
So,
just looking at Toronto's starting lineup, that's horrible. Like,
who they got up
they
there?
don't scare anybody.
Oh, they used to
So
have
Dennis
guys that
Schroeder
could score 20
is the
any
point
night.
guard.
Okay.
Right. OG Anunoby is at the 2, Scotty Barnes and Siakam, and then Jakob Poeltl. And like, I don't really care for any of those guys except Scotty Barnes. Maybe OG's got
Yeah.
defense, but
Yeah. Pascal
Dennis Schroeder might
Siakam's
actually
not
put
as
up
good
big
as.
numbers.
Yeah. I gotcha. Cool. Well, good stuff. So there you go, guys. We got an
Exciting.
NBA minute here with all our NFL action. So big NBA transactions. Definitely want to bring in some insight into that, and we'll definitely get some more of that coming up later this fall. So I always love the month of November, in part that it is my birthday month. We do have the NFL going on. We do get the NBA. And we get college basketball at the same time. So it's like 3 of my favorite sports are all going on at the same time. So I absolutely love it when November shows up. So good month. So there we go. Looks like in the NFL realm of things, we got some Monday night action kicking off. Looks like the Seahawks just had their first drive. Nothing great about that. And now it looks like the Giants are just beginning their first drive. So I think this is a game both you and myself. I think we both picked Seattle. Does that sound about right, Triggs?
Yep. Yep. I will never pick the Giants again.
Wow. Wow. They what game did they burn you and wrong you on something?
Oh, they didn't burn me. Just all of them. They're all bad.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing I do want to point out here that I see is the Seattle Seahawks secondary is garbage. They allow points to like everyone that plays them. So as much as I know both of us went with Seattle, I do think New York can absolutely go into a shootout in this game. And that might not be the kind of game that Seattle wants to play. So as much as we pick Seattle, I'm a little bit concerned. The saving grace to this is that we know teams can absolutely run on the Giants. So whether it's been Christian McCaffrey or James Conner, we've seen that production from those running backs. So that's kind of what we got going on there. I'm playing around with some underdog fantasy higher lower things. I got the sham pick of Geno Smith just has to basically complete one pass. Cool, we got that. But then I went with Kenneth Walker. I need one touchdown of any kind, either a reception or a rushing touchdown. Whatever happens there, I see that happening. Isaiah Hodgins, I just need 2 catches. Darren Waller, I need 4.5 receptions. And then Daniel Jones, I need 17 fantasy points. So that's kind of what we're playing with tonight.
Yeah, I could see most of that happening. Like, Daniel Jones is the only part that scares me.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree on that. But I just feel that there's so much opportunity against the Seattle Seahawks secondary that I think this is totally a get right game for him. Absolutely, after just getting clobbered by the 49ers last week Thursday, or 2 Thursdays ago on week 3. But I think they can open it up. Granted, not having Saquon Barkley is not the most ideal sort of things. I think if they had Saquon, I would just probably pick the Giants outright in this game. But with who they got, there's been a little bit of production out of Jalen Hyatt. Unfortunately, I had to let that guy go. He was definitely a fantasy guy I drafted. I love having that guy and seeing what he can do, but got to move on. But I do think he starts to make an impact tonight in this Giants offense against that secondary of Seattle that is just absolutely allowing anyone to throw on them. So we got that. I need 2 receptions out of Isaiah Hodgins. So he's a pretty dependable reception target of Daniel Jones, as is Darren Waller. Pretty much if Darren Waller just has a day and can actually do his thing, he's getting like about 6 receptions a game from what I've seen in the past. So that's about it. We'll see what we got. Plus the game's in MetLife, so you got some good home crowd there with the Giants. So yeah, that's about it. But we'll see what we got with that game. So that's kind of what I'm taking away from that.
Yeah, I'm taking away that both of those teams don't matter.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, I could see them both potentially making a run at the playoffs. I think Seattle probably has a more likelihood to get in, considering they're a little bit more dynamic on how they can score. I am concerned about that secondary, but I don't know. That's kind of the one I see out of this. But then again, I mean, the Giants are coached up really, really well. And I don't truly understand that defense yet. They've had some teams where they've been just totally annihilated against, and then they've played some close games here, or one close game outside of that. So it's pretty much just a mixed bag of like yin yang of, boy, we absolutely stink, and then we're an okay football team. So I still think we need to see more out of it. Looks like the Giants just got stuffed on a 4th and short at about midfield. So that's what's going on here. And Daniel Jones wasn't able to do the Sirianni sneak, as I call it. So yeah. But yeah, that's about all we can take away from that game. I mean, I'm still with you that I think there are much, much better teams out of the NFC, and come the playoffs that those other teams end up going further than the wild card round.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you want to get in on this Thursday night from last week?
Thursday night from last week. Absolutely. That was what, the Giants and the 49ers?
Nope.
Or
the Packers and the Lions.
Oh, yeah, I'm still stuck with the Giants. Yeah, Packers and the Lions. So your boy over there went with the green and gold, but your boy over here called it right with the blue and silver and black, whatever their color scheme is. But yeah, how about that? How about those Detroit Lions?
I don't know what to make of the Detroit Lions. Their defense is really solid. Their offensive line is solid, but there's no reason why David Montgomery should have 121 yards.
Cha-ching.
But at the same time, the Packers defense, I don't understand why Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator, is not fired. Like, he should have been fired like 12 years ago.
Maybe, but I will give you this. The Green Bay secondary is solid.
Oh, it's stacked. But
yeah.
he doesn't let them play bump coverage. Everyone in the building knows that they have an all-pro. They have one of the best in the game. Their safeties are solid. Their linebacking core is solid. Their ends are solid. Kenny Pickett, not Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about him.
Yeah, let's not talk about him. Why am I blanking on names? The defensive tackle for the Packers. Pro Bowl
Rashawn Gary.
Guy. Nah, jeez. Now my brain's playing games on me.
Yeah, we gotta put our best people on it. Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. But I mean, I love the secondary of Green Bay. I think it's who is it?
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark. Gotcha. And not the TNT one, because I like that guy too.
No.
Yes.
But we as in Packer fans have a loaded defense.
Yep.
And for the last 3 seasons, they look like they can't tackle any running backs ever. The holes are so big. They don't blitz. They also don't play bump coverage. So what are these defenders doing? They're doing the opposite of everything.
Yeah, I was thinking that there would be more Jahmyr Gibbs, and because of the secondary and how stout it is, I thought they would do more inside with the slot. But they definitely caught me off guard of just saying, hey, we're just going to feed David Montgomery and just run it up the gut and attack you guys that way. So that was pretty impressive with that going on. I think in the future, in the next meeting of this, I think Detroit's going to probably open up more passing because basically in the fourth quarter, they kind of just shut it down. They got yep, we're way ahead on points. David Montgomery's been running the ball pretty well. Let's just ride him out and just work down the clock. Other thing, so
he only had 3.8 yards a carry. So they kept him low. They just couldn't stop him when it mattered.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that's definitely when it matters most is when you get to the goal line and you got those goal to go situations. Speaking of which, that is something I got working in the works. We'll be doing more about that in the off season. But yeah, it's pretty interesting when a team gets to that goal line and they kind of make more out of what you've seen than in the open field of the game. So you got that going on there. The other thing that I do want to bring up that I think matters, especially to the defense, to time of possession, to giving your defense a break. I know we've talked about it. We've seen it in some of the other games this weekend as well, is that Green Bay offense needs to stay on the field longer. And with you guys not having a running game and Jordan Love, to me, being a real problem on this, that really extends your defense even more.
Yeah. I mean, when you give your running back 5 carries, and I understand you're getting beat, but 5 carries, AJ Dillon shouldn't touch the ball anymore.
No.
Just feed Aaron Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know, is Aaron Jones looking good off that hamstring? Because man, I keep looking back at that play in Chicago, and he gets into the red zone hot, but the moment he does, man, does he come up hurting.
Yeah.
And he just limps on like 1 foot into the tunnel down there at Soldier Field. And man, that was a real bummer to see that. So that's why I'm kind of concerned that, boy, if he comes back, last game was his first game back, correct?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
But when you come back from that, you're not getting a lot of reps. You're just kind of getting warmed up and kind of easing into it.
Well, they said he could have came back the game prior, but now he's going to have a long week, with the Thursday night game, and then coming through. I can't remember. Do they play Monday?
The Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, they play.
Not.
Yeah, they play the Raiders next Monday.
They sure do.
Yeah.
I know they're against my Raiders. I did not know that is a Monday night game. Wow.
So, like, he has that long week now with the Thursday, the Sunday games, and then an entire another week,
Yep.
That didn't even make any sense, but you knew what I was saying. And so, like, I don't know what the Packers need to do, but I can talk about the Packers all day.
Yeah, the one thing that I take away from this is that I know Jordan Love is ranking highly in fantasy, but I think there's a real caveat to that, and I think it's that it's in very unique red zone situations, and yet we've still seen a coin flip of a completion percentage. That is not good. And on top of it, we have yet to see a 300-yard passing game. To me, those are the two benchmarks that really dictate if a quarterback is elite. So we want to see if they are completing 70-ish plus percent of their passes. And then are they able to throw for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game? Or even if it's a combination of rushing and passing, that magic number for touchdowns has to be pretty much close to 3. So even as much as we like CJ Stroud, he's still not crossing that benchmark of the 3 touchdowns, but he's still very close, incredibly accurate. But he's another one where I feel like if CJ Stroud really runs into a really tough defense like the Jets, I think that could start to regress.
Wait a minute.
But it's your Houston Texans, Triggs.
How about we switch to the Houston Texans? He played the stout Pittsburgh defense and lit them up.
Yes, he did. He did. And I did change my pick. I know for those people who saw me last week, they know I think I picked the Steelers, but really thinking about it and really noticing how well Houston has played against Jacksonville, how that defense is pretty impressive. And I even heard today that considering there is a 49er regime that has worked their way to Houston, basically the 49ers of the Southwest, the Houston Texans, they basically just played against the Steelers in the same manner that the 49ers played against Steelers in week 1. So that's what D'Amico Ryans strategized with, and it paid off.
Hey, I'm just saying, someone over here told everybody to pick up Nico Collins. That dude went bananas. Bananas. 168 in the air, 2 tuds. Let's go.
Yeah, totally, man. So that's totally your guy. He went off. For all those watching, we are definitely dropping our no debate notes, our game summaries, and Nico Collins is our guy for tomorrow. It is already prepped up, ready to go, just ready to roll out the red carpet for that. And you're gonna see, man, like between Nico Collins and even the one game he missed where Tank Dell came in and just really lit it up. Like, man, you can get some awesome value with those receivers on the Texans. Not so much out of Robert Woods yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, Tank Dell's probably going to take his spot and be that number 2 kind of guy.
I mean, I kind of look at their lineup and I see like it's probably Nico Collins outside, Tank Dell outside, then some combination of Robert Woods and John Mechie in the interior. So stuff like that. I mean, you also got Dalton Schultz as a really good tight end. So they got some good stuff going. Plus, a little sneaky preview. Their offensive line actually did really well too in this game. 0 sacks allowed to CJ Stroud, and I think only 5 hits. So he was pretty much upright that entire game against a TJ Watt led defense from the Steelers. So looks really, really good with that team.
Torched. Who you got next?
Well, let's go to that Sunday night game.
Oh, no.
A little interesting. I mean, there's multiple avenues here. We'll talk for 2 seconds that, yeah, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. I think at some point that backfires on him in more than one way. Definitely in more than one way. But when it comes to the football side of things, there were a few cool things going on here. I started to see more progressions out of Zach Wilson, and the last few weeks too, like even going back to the Buffalo game, like there's times where, man, that guy puts on a throw that it's like, it's a rocket. It's just a total rocket launcher on point. The throws he's made to Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson. There was even a pass to Randall Cobb that was really well thrown in this game. There's just a really cool growth going on with Zach Wilson. Yeah, he fumbles at the end of that game. But I thought it was really cool seeing that growth out of him. I guess the only thing that really, to me, let him down in this game was the running game between Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. I was pretty disappointed by that.
Breece Hall had a pretty good average per carry, but again, just like we said about the Green Bay Packers, if you have a stud running back, give him the ball. 6 carries is not okay.
Yeah. Or just like last week when the LA Rams played against Cincinnati, all they had to do was feed Kyron Williams. They feed that guy, you'll do the exact same thing that the Titans did to the Bengals. All you got to do is run the football. When you got a guy that can do it and do damage to a defense that isn't good against the run, that's how you get through. So, yeah, Breece Hall totally needed to get fed more and make a damage. And then not only that, the biggest thing that they got going on is their time of possession. Just like we talked about with Green Bay, this is another team that is very poor at time of possession. I believe the Jets are dead last in time of possession. So their defense is playing 36 minutes per game on the field. That is way too much time. That's almost 2/3 of the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the big thing I took away from this game, switching teams though, is my boy Rashee Rice was out there. He was doing some work. He looks like he's the clear-cut number 1.
He does. He totally does. And the math and the numbers support that. Looking at his targets from this week combined with last week, he leads all wide receivers on the Kansas City Chiefs with 12 targets. So he is by far setting himself apart from the others. Week 1, week 1 and week 2, they really didn't know kind of how that receiver core was going to mesh. But I think this is the true number 1 receiver, especially lined up outside, that Patrick Mahomes is finally starting to develop. And that's always been my biggest knock on Mahomes, is that he is not developing those receivers. But I think now we're starting to see that. Plus, on top of that, Travis Kelce is regressing. Believe it or not, folks, I know he's on every single commercial on TV, but Travis Kelce is regressing. And we saw it this week, and we saw it at the end of last season. There needs to be a change of pace to this offense. And what better way to do that, too, then, is to develop a wide receiver, maybe bring in another big-name receiver or somebody that's got size. I know my guy Devontae Adams has been linked. I get it. But, that's what they need. They need to develop receivers. And then also the guy who's also totally balling out like Rashee Rice is Isaiah Pacheco. That guy is running with a purpose. I still go back to the social media claim that I read out there that he played into the playoffs with basically a pulled groin and a broken hand. And that's why his production wasn't as great towards the end of last season, because it's almost impossible to play with a groin injury. And on top of that, he played with a broken hand. So I think now he's fully healthy, and man, does he run angry out there. He's like the angriest runner in the NFL. Like him and Alvin Kamara. Like those guys just run with hatred.
Yeah. And when you're running with 6 yards of carry, they fed him a lot. I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes is broken right now, so like lean on that run game.
Yes. And this is where I want to caveat from this game into our next game we're going to talk about. I think the thing that's going on right now is Mahomes has actually played against pretty tough defenses. So whether it's been the Jets, the Detroit Lions, help me out with some of these other teams that I'm blanking on, Triggs. But it feels like he's played against actually legit secondaries. And looking at his schedule coming up, he's played against the Bears. That was an okay game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. The other one. Yeah, that fourth team. That's
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Okay, so Jacksonville is a good defense. We know they're a good defense. They're a good secondary as well. They proved it last year. Even though this most recent game of theirs was Atlanta, but that's what's happening right now. Is Mahomes has played against tough secondaries. Now he's going to play against He's going to play against Denver twice. He's got Philadelphia coming up, and you can definitely attack them through the air. You have the Miami Dolphins coming up as well. That team you can just torch with whoever your quarterback is. I think now he has a stretch of games. He has about 5 games coming up where it's just terrible secondaries and then a bye week. So that's what I'm taking away from this. I don't want to just be a naysayer and say, hey, Mahomes isn't that great. The problem is the NFL is what it is, and he's played against really tough defenses. So let's give him credit there, and let's also go to our next game, unless you want to drop something on this. But I feel there's way too much credit on there we go. I just feel there's too much credit going in the same manner with Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been on the other side of the coin, playing against Washington, Vegas, and Miami. And then the one team he played that was a tough secondary, he didn't do so hot against the Jets. He has a mixed bag coming up of games that they're not easy games to play against in the secondaries. So that's where I'm really concerned with this. I know Josh Allen's really good, but I don't think he's great per se. But we'll see. I just feel like there's way more to be seen. And I think Josh Allen's been definitely getting the benefit of playing against weaker secondaries.
Right. And that shows perfectly with this Miami game. Even though they beat them by 4 touchdowns, they didn't run the ball very well. Like Latavius Murray was their lead back.
Still is.
Yeah.
He was that way against the Raiders as well.
Damian Harris basically did nothing. And it was just the Stephon Diggs show. So, like, even though they put up all these, crazy numbers, nobody really did anything except Diggs.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is, like, that can be pretty spotty. So the moment you go up against a defense that starts to shut down Diggs, shut down Gabe Davis, I think if you do that, you win those games. You will win every single game if Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis are completely contained. I know it's asking for a lot, but that's what it takes to beat the Bills. You do that, you make Josh Allen make some mistakes, and he's mortal. You can totally do that. So Davis and Diggs, they got a ton of speed. They're excellent fast receivers, but other than that, the 12 personnel they run out there with the tight ends ain't that great. It's okay. I think they're more primarily blockers, really protecting that blind side of Josh Allen. But again, the run game isn't that great. And I think you take Miami with another crack at this Buffalo Bills team with more time for Vic Fangio to figure this out. Plus, at some point in the winter, we are getting Jalen Ramsey back. That matters. And who knows what kind of trades they could make. But obviously to Fangio and Mike McDaniels, they know they have to figure out that secondary because that is atrocious. I want to say the video that I posted shows that it's close to like 600 yards they've given up in 4 weeks in the air.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So it's insane. But the thing is, no one can do what Miami does with the speed. I know my Super Bowl pick was Jacksonville, but at this point, I'm really considering changing and really going in on both the 49ers and the Miami Dolphins, because what they do is so exotic and so diverse that teams are not ready for those guys. Those teams are way too exotic and tough to deal with.
Nice. Speaking of not exotic and
Okay,
horrible,
sure.
how about let's get through this as fast as possible? The Denver Broncos and Chicago Bears.
Okay, yeah. So we will try to get through this fast. My biggest takeaway on this is that these are two teams, also like the Dolphins, have terrible secondaries, but are clicking on some cylinder on offense. I know we've seen rough stuff out of Chicago, but I had a feeling against Denver that Chicago was going to start to figure it out on offense. Huge game out of Justin Fields. Really solid game out of DJ Moore, like we've seen in the past. So I like that where that direction is going. If I was a betting person, which I am, but if I actually put in the time before that game, I would have pounded the over on that game. I think the points were at like 47, and people want to say, oh, they're 0-3. Well, they actually got good offenses, and at some point, Chicago will figure it out. And what better way to figure it out against a bad secondary of the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, no. They literally figured out how to lose this game. He threw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Khalil Herbert runs for 100, and they still threw it away.
Yeah, it's totally possible to do that. But I am somewhat positive on where the direction of that offense is. I know Cole Kmet had 2 touchdowns, so glad to see that. Not glad to see that against me in fantasy, but that's another story.
Yeah. And I mean, the Broncos literally, if you look at their box score, nobody did anything, but they put up 31 points in one game. Only the Bears can do that.
Exactly. And although the Dallas Cowboys, I'll put them into the mix too. They've had a ton of games where they're scoring 40, 30 plus points, this week included, and they have nothing on offense. I don't know how in the world Dallas is doing that. I mean, they're scoring multiple defensive touchdowns, but yeah, it's pretty rough seeing that. So we'll transition from that game. We'll go to Dallas with the Patriots and the Cowboys, and same thing. Like they have a very good defense. They didn't necessarily have a good secondary because of how poorly played Mac Jones is.
Yeah, I did not see this game because I just assumed it was going to be a blowout. Can you explain to me how they got 38 points?
I can't. I literally cannot.
Where did
I
these
know
points come from?
Yeah, and that's what I keep thinking. I mean, I keep thinking that between Denver and Dallas, and even some of the New England games as well, who they played against. It is bizarre. Speaking of a quarterback that is not really doing much at all, Dak Prescott's one as well. I think he's not right. I think his body is physically broken. I like the guy. I think he's a really cool guy. I've always thought he played with poise. I actually own his Pro Bowl jersey from his rookie year when he played with Zeke. I've been a fan of Dak Prescott. But between tearing your labrum and having the Tommy John UCL injury, I think he's totally morphed. I think he's as good as Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's not good. He has no power, no octane, and now teams are starting to stack the box against the run game, so I'm a little concerned with that. But their defense was able to ball out against a bad quarterback. The problem is, what happens when Dallas goes up against a Philadelphia, and then they have 2 great receivers outside, and you don't have Trayvon Diggs? Now you're in trouble.
And the big problem, I'm just going to jump on the other side, is Mac Jones.
Yep.
Is he done? Dunzo?
Yep. Yeah. And I don't know if I brought it up on this show or if I just post about it on social medias, but they have a way out. And I hated the way they used him at the end of the preseason. but the guy they should go to, they have a young rookie, Lamar Jackson. And to me, I'm even more scared about it because, like, you put this guy in a practice squad, so he is fair game for anyone at this point. And we're seeing teams lose quarterbacks, and we're seeing guys go down, and we're seeing like half the league needs to look at a quarterback for the future after this season. It's scary. It's a scary world out there for these guys. But Malik Cunningham out of Louisville, just like Lamar Jackson, that guy, he like, we know how the preseason went, but I'm telling you, even in the same game, he's more exciting than Tank Dell, and he's even more exciting than another guy named Tank Bigsby. Those were the two big darlings of the preseason. Malik Cunningham is even better than those guys, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's another favorite of ours. But exactly, like, that's it. Like, go with Malik Cunningham. You can open up the offense. You can do all sorts of weird things. And then now you go from being this team that people think is just dead in the water to unloading this Lamar Jackson-ish kind of offense. And bam, that's new life, man. Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, Tyquan Thornton. They got guys. They could totally open up that offense. I'm okay with the receiving core. I'm okay with those guys. Plus, what is it? Our guy Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki are up there with Patriots as well. So, like, they have targets. They legitimately have targets. They're just not getting the ball. And with that going on, what else is going on? Now, Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke are splitting carries, and they're getting zero production whatsoever. So you need to open that up. And what better way to open that up than with a guy that's a dual threat in Malik Cunningham? But put him on your roster.
I agree.
Yep. So that's my hope.
Speaking of dual threat.
Yep.
What about the real dual threat, Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, he is playing remarkably this year. Looking at how his offensive line is and looking at that time that he has in the pocket, and he is spreading the ball out more. There's a lot of different receivers that are being targeted. They're not just super heavy on the run game anymore. But now we get that big Mark Andrews game. We get that multiple touchdown game out of Andrews as well. But just seeing the way that Lamar Jackson plays now in the open field is pretty awesome. I used to think that he was probably one of the best quarterbacks in the red zone because of just how the game speeds up and how that really helps out his first reads checking down the field. But now with all the time he has and the speed he has and the speed that those targets that he throws to have, I'm really impressed with how Lamar Jackson is now.
Yeah, I mean, Zay Flowers and those boys are all doing damage. Melvin Gordon, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, like they kind of move the ball to just about anybody that's out there. But I know you just said his name, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Like, what happened? 3 picks, 4 sacks. Like, that was bad.
That hurts, man. I think this comes back to your point that Baltimore has a legit scary defense. They can stop all aspects of the game. And especially, ultimately that game comes down to experience. That kind of reminds me of the game from a year or so ago between the Cardinals and the Packers back when it was Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray. The guy with the more experience is going to be less likely to turn over the ball because he's more acclimated to the speed of the game and just the experience in general. So DTR is going up against preseason players. That game is slower. Now you bring in the real speed of the NFL, and it is faster. It does take some acclimating to get used to. So pretty bizarre day out of the Browns. Plus, they got kind of this unique offense going on. So little tough with what they got going on there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not too much going on there with the young guy at quarterback.
But I do think it kind of comes back to your pick. I know you picked the Ravens to win that division, and I picked the Steelers, which that's not happening. But I do have that hope in the Browns, especially now that they come to a bye week, and then they'll have Deshaun Watson back against a pretty pivotal, cool game against the 49ers in 2 weeks. So pretty excited about that. But I think this is showing that that division is going to come down to those two teams. It's going to come down to Baltimore. It's going to come down to Cleveland. Cleveland is going to be playing the meat of their schedule now. This is pretty much the hardest part of their schedule, is pretty much now moving into the middle. Baltimore is not. Baltimore is going to have a fairly nice stretch, but the final stretch of the final month of their games is rough. I believe Jacksonville's in it. Cleveland is in it. They play some pretty tough defenses. So I feel like that's what's going to happen. We're either going to figure out, can Cleveland make it through this middle stretch, or is Baltimore going to just persevere through those final games? And Baltimore's played some tough teams. They've had some dominant wins as well. And I think you're spot on. I mean, regardless, I do think Baltimore for sure is going to make the playoffs.
So speaking of that division, is Joe Burrow broken?
Yep. Yeah, he is totally hurt. I think now we're seeing multiple different coverages on Jamar Chase. The guy's not healthy, but even more importantly, like, it's not just Joe Burrow. It's the fact that they can't stop the run and they can't stop slot receivers. And teams know that. They know that, okay, your secondary is fantastic, but your nickel corner is not. So let's attack the nickel and let's just run the ball down your throat. And unfortunately, the LA Rams didn't get that memo. The Rams totally scrapped it and they screwed up. But if the Rams knew that, they would have won that game against the Bengals. So the Bengals should be a winless team. They truly should be. So that's kind of what I see what's going on. And on top of that, Joe Burrow definitely needs to rest, heal up. It's not going to get any worse than what it is now. So I have a friend who's actually a Bengals fan, and he's saying, oh, yeah, Tennessee Titans, Arizona Cardinals, those are gimme games. I don't know what the point spread is, but Arizona has the exact genetics and DNA to win against the Bengals. They're going to run it down your throat, and the Arizona Cardinals have maybe more slot receivers than anyone in the NFL. So they have the perfect combination to win against the Bengals. And a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Tennessee, basically all they can do is run, and they did it. They even had Derrick Henry throw a touchdown.
Exactly. This was a game that I thought would totally be a bounce back, big Derrick Henry game. Again, if I would have had some time and played something with dailies, I would have totally bet some stuff with Derrick Henry. It just, whatever big name running back you have going up against the Bengals, play them, start them, and reap the benefits. Even Tajay Spears had like almost 50 yards rushing. So good stuff.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Yep.
Who do you got next on your list?
All right. Yeah, you know what? Let's go to my team. Let's go to my Raiders. Few interesting things happen here. One, you had the first start of Aiden O'Connell, and then two, you had a Raiders defense that actually stepped up and then physically broke Justin Herbert.
Yes, but everything correct, and they still didn't win. And I'm just like, well, they slowed the run game, they slowed the pass game.
Yep.
How do you not win?
It's still, yeah. So it still comes down to two things. One, the offensive line. Number 72 is awful. He is a big, hurly giant that has T-Rex arms, and he can't pass protect. It is what it is. But then on top of that, Aiden O'Connell has to step up in the pocket. When a pocket collapses, you have to find those open holes and move up and into them. Exactly, there it is. Triggs has T-Rex arms. That's what happens. We step up in the pocket, and then you look for your targets downfield. And I know he's got this real good chemistry with Devontae Adams, who got banged up in this game as well. He left. I think he probably dislocated his shoulder. I think they popped it back in, and back he showed up. But I think he's got to stop forcing into double and even triple coverage. So that's what we're getting out of his first start. But the thing is, Aiden O'Connell has juice. He has a big arm. He can actually throw the ball deep downfield and open up the offense. And then with Davante Adams, that allows Josh Jacobs to get those opportunities. So yeah, just like some really good things that I like to see on the offense. But it was Aiden O'Connell's first game, so I'm not really that upset with it. But take with the benefits of the defense actually stopping Justin Herbert, and doing okay with the run defense as well. I still don't think our running defense is that great, but that's kind of what I took away from it. I think we stopped the nickel, so I think we had a good nickel, and had some pretty good success against Keenan Allen. So it's all right.
My big takeaway about this, I was completely right on this guy, Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue. I said he reads the defense as well, coming out of college. And then I said he is really overconfident. He's got a big arm, throws a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, that totally happened. And just like the way the Zach Wilson Jets game ended, we ended in similar fashion, just not on a fumble, but with a interception when it was in the worst possible situation. I haven't seen too much of that play, but I feel like if Aiden wasn't going so hard to his right to find Davante Adams, I swear there was something to the left, whether it was a Foster Moreau, or not a Foster Moreau, a Michael Meyer, or the other Austin Hooper, that tight end. I just felt like there was something going on the left side of the field that was out of the camera shot. But yeah, it was what it was. I mean, there were some very questionable decisions made by the Chargers in this game as well. So pretty bizarre. But like, I think now the Chargers, especially with a hurt Justin Herbert, he broke his middle finger, and with that, from what I've heard from the announcers, he won't be able to take a snap under center. And he also will now have to hand off to the left side. So he's a right-handed quarterback. Normally, quarterbacks take that. They try to hand it off to the right, maybe do a little play action. He won't have that disguisability anymore. He has to hand off on the wrong side, and he has to take snaps out of shotgun forever until this thing heals, which, boy, a finger, I don't know how long that takes to heal. Like, what do you think? 2 months, something like that?
I am no doctor, but fingers hurt, man. And when you can't grip the football the way you want to, throwing it is going to be a pain.
Yeah, it looks bad. I think of all the fingers to hurt on your non-throwing hand, I think the middle finger is the worst one to break, outside the thumb. But yeah, so it's it's pretty rough there. But I think now, for a team who scores like almost they've scored basically 100 points in 4 games. Now they're not going to be able to do that, and they have very questionable play calls and questionable defenses, and I think they will absolutely start to regress to the mean.
That makes sense. How about we do some more questionable play calling?
Yep.
Minnesota versus Carolina.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still question from the get-go, why even is Bryce Young out there? He is not an NFL quarterback. I just don't get what's going on there. I just feel like Minnesota, even though they're not that great, they still know their identity. They know their offense. Carolina does not. Carolina should be playing Andy Dalton, and that's the way it should go, because your quarterback you drafted is not good enough. It's a miss.
Yeah, Andy Dalton played so well last week, and it's crazy. The funny part about the entire situation, Carolina doesn't have their own pick. Chicago does. So, like, they should be trying to win no matter what. If Bryce Young has to sit down for a season and just watch Dalton play to get better, Like, do something, but don't just. I didn't realize that until number 1 and the number 2 pick right
Yeah.
now because they're both horrible.
Yep. That's crazy. That is pretty crazy stuff. And like, I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Like both those teams, they will take Caleb Williams, number 1. Whoever it falls to, whoever gets to be the first overall pick, they will take Caleb Williams. And yes, Caleb Williams has this thing hanging out there that he doesn't want to go to a bad football team, but it's going to happen. He's going to go to a bad football team. The only thing is, will it be under the coaches that are already in place? Probably not. Maybe Carolina, but definitely not Chicago. Chicago will totally clean house at some point, if not sooner than later. And we know what's going on with Michigan and their NCAA recruiting violations from COVID. So it feels like, to me, it just feels like they're setting this up so they can bring Harbaugh to the Chicago Bears and take Caleb Williams.
No idea.
Yeah,
they'll still be horrible, but
right. But man, you get Jim Harbaugh in there.
Up.
I know, but Jim Harbaugh is a game changer. Wherever that guy shows up, he changes your program, your franchise. He will instantly change the culture on defense, and this, for being a quarterback guy, is crazy. And then on top of that, he will coach up your quarterback. He did it with Andrew Luck. He did it with Alex Smith, and he did it with Colin Kaepernick. So his track record is excellent. And Caleb Williams would be perfect.
So in this game, we're good to say that Justin. Oh, yeah, for sure. We're good to say that Justin Jefferson did Justin Jefferson things, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Not too crazy out of Kirk Cousins, but yet still just another crazy Justin Jefferson speed game. The way that guy turns on a dime or just lights it up upfield. He did his thing. He had 2 touchdowns, and it is what it is.
Sweet. Ooh, speaking of lighting people up, man, my boy Richardson is out there doing damage.
Totally, man. Totally. With Anthony
Is that
Richardson,
the steal of the draft right now?
Boy, it's between him, CJ Stroud, and unfortunately he went out. The Christian Gonzalez, the secondary player for the Patriots. I know he's on the defensive side of the ball, but those are definitely the guys that I'm looking at from the draft, going like, wow, these teams are getting crazy value out of. Yeah, it is absolutely insane.
I mean, Richardson, dude, that guy runs with like reckless abandon. Like he is looking to hit people and like just run you over if he can. And his ability to throw is still hit or miss, but like, so dangerous with his legs.
Exactly, man. I think he kind of runs with that Andrew Luck recklessness. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Pat McAfee back when he would punt for the Colts, and then he would just eye the receiver, and he would just square up on that guy if he could get him downfield. So I definitely miss Pat McAfee punting for the Colts, and that's how Richardson plays, man. It's reckless, but still solid. I mean, just from his running alone, he got 12 fantasy points. That's pretty scary.
Yeah. And then on the other side, Kieran Williams, dude, that guy is like, he is the one right now. Like that guy is really good. And then of course Puka is still doing his thing too.
Yeah, Puka is pretty excellent. I was listening a little bit to Cowherd with TJ Hushmanzada, and he said he worked out with Puka Nacua as he was. I think he originally went to Southern Cal before Brigham Young, but man, he totally knew that Puka Nacua was going to be something someday, and it's pretty impressive. I do have a little concern about Kyron. I feel like the cat is pretty much out of the bag with what's going to be happening within the next day or so. And it's ironic that it is this matchup, but Jonathan Taylor is pretty much set and ready to go to the LA Rams. And how does that play with Kyron Williams? I mean,
Oh,
Kyron's awesome. He is a awesome player, but I don't think this necessarily turns into a Zeke Ramondre Stevenson thing because of how dynamic they are passing the football. Like you are getting solid yardage out of Matt Stafford, and between Puka Nakua and Tutu Atwell, like they have nice targets to throw to. So it might be a day where, like the kind of offense where maybe one day it's a Kyron Williams day, maybe the next day it's a Jonathan Taylor kind of day. So and Jonathan Taylor is going from AstroTurf to AstroTurf, so you don't really have to worry about that. But that's kind of what I think is going to happen. I don't know what your take is on that.
hey, if he goes to the Rams, more power to him.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. To go
Yeah.
into a division where you may not make the playoffs is not a good idea.
Oh, I think the Rams make the playoffs. That I think happens. I think they're probably
I
the
said
best.
May. I said May.
Yeah,
I
true.
said May.
But I think the other teams that I see him going to could also have some kind of playoff hopes, but also playoff questions. I'm still with you. I think him in Green Bay with the Packers would be an excellent fit. Swap him, AJ Dillon, probably going to have to swap picks as well to do something with that. Or the other team that I've kicked around, and this would be more than one kind of swap of players. But I think a straight up 1-for-1 with the Jets with him for Brees Hall would be pretty interesting.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. My caveat to that trade as well is they would also negotiate another trade and unload both of their quarterbacks to the Minnesota Vikings to bring in Kirk Cousins. So
Makes sense.
that's another wild one. But
I'm not against it. I've heard rumblings that Kirk Cousins may go to Atlanta. Is that weird?
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I mean, you really think about it because I feel like his leverage in the West Coast is pretty much gone between Matt Stafford and Brock Purdy quarterbacking the Rams and the 49ers. Granted, maybe the Rams could happen after the season, but I do like the ability of Kirk Cousins with Atlanta because they probably do have a good amount of money. They do have a fairly younger team. There are other pieces they can move off of pretty quickly, especially the guys in the secondary on the defense. But Kirk Cousins with Atlanta would be exactly what they need. Plus, with Bijan Robinson, can you imagine that? Just that power that Bijan brings, the pass catching ability, and then to deflect all that attention. And now, what do you know? Kyle Pitts and Drake London are actually really good receivers, as is Matt Collins. So I love that idea. I think that's sneaky. That is sneaky and really cool. I don't know what would come along with it. Probably Tyler Algier is what I'm thinking. But that's kind of it's cool. Like I really like that possibility. Plus, he gets to play indoors.
Look how bad they just got. Look how bad they got demolished by Jacksonville. I mean,
yeah,
Bijan Robinson basically did everything on offense and kind of looked back like, "Hey, is this quarterback going to do stuff or no?"
Yep. Yeah, and that's I'm with you on that, and it's why I've lost all faith in my Atlanta Falcons pick as well. So between my Steelers pick and my Falcons pick to win their divisions, gone. I think that's what it takes. It does give me a little more concern too with the Green Bay Packers losing that game to the same kind of style Atlanta Falcons, where it's just a Bijan Robinson show for the moment. But that's it, man. Like they do have a nice defense, but they have no threats on offense outside of Bijan. So everyone's going to stack the box, and Bijan's going to get 50 yards rushing, 30 yards receiving, and probably a touchdown, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look at the other side of the ball with Jacksonville, they kind of didn't do very much either, but they did enough to win. And
Yeah.
I guess that's all that matters.
It is, but it also showed off too, like, and you've brought this up in the past too, that Atlanta does have a good secondary. They have good guys outside. Their nickel corner is where you can attack it. And what better way to do that than with Christian Kirk? So I know people want to say, oh, Christian Kirk's washed up and whatnot, but with him playing the slot and Calvin Ridley outside, one of those guys is probably going to have a day. It's not going to be both, more than likely. So I think it's pretty good that, hey, they'll shut down the outside. Christian Kirk, you're in the middle. That's how you do it.
Yeah, but Travis Etienne, like, I'm not sure if that guy's a good running back or not. I'm kind of over him.
I agree. I think it should be more Tank Bigsby. He can absolutely pound the rock, and I feel like they just have to start using him more in the pass catching game as well. But I feel he is better than Travis Etienne for sure. I know there's been some Etienne lovers out there, but I've never agreed with it. He does have some nice plays here and there. He's got almost more like that Tyreek Hill kind of jet sweep kind of action. But when it comes to just playing the position, being a threat, I think teams have more respect for that offense when there's Tank Bigsby and less respect when it's Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
There you go.
What game you want to cover next?
Oh, let's see what we got. We've gone through most of these games. Let's take a look at who else is still out there. Why do I want to say, is there a Cardinals game out there that we have not touched?
There is.
Let me
Against San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, that I don't think that game went so hot for the Cardinals. Yeah. But I think it's pointing out that your
Josh Dobbs was okay.
Exactly. Josh Dobbs doing solid, getting like 200 plus yards throwing the rock. So I like seeing that. James Conner pretty much does what James Conner does. But the interesting thing on this is I think we're starting to see that Christian McCaffrey is at the minimum the most bona fide fantasy MVP, just like you called it.
The dude is insane.
Absolutely. Yep. I just had the feeling that he would do it.
Yeah, he's getting like 10 targets passing, 20 carries, like, I mean, 3 touchdowns in this game. How do you stop him?
He had 4. He even had a receiving touchdown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were correct. I forgot about that one. Yeah. But like it's insane.
Yep.
Like, you can't catch him out of the backfield. You can't cover him. Wow.
Yeah, he's incredibly impressive. I mean, this is an offense that I really want to do more work with at some point and try to figure out how to learn it. Because between Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk, they took over this game. I mean, there's basically no George Kittle. And is there any Deebo Samuel? Yeah, no Deebo Samuel.
No.
So neither of those two guys, and they still clobbered the Cardinals.
Dude, Brock Purdy only had 1 incompletion. That's insane.
Yeah. Yep. 1 incompletion. Almost a 300-yard day, 1 touchdown. He did go for a rushing touchdown as well. So again, like trying to get to that 3 touchdown mark. He only got to 2, but still up there near 300, and completion percentage, literally like you pointed out, almost 100%. That's how you do it. Yep.
Wow. Just saying that out loud is insane.
It is 100. Like I'm really happy with 70 for a guy to be up there at almost like 100. I know there's been a few Jared Goff days recently, but like, man, getting up there with that amount of points is absolutely insane. And having that kind of completion percentage. And I believe, too, the only game Brock Purdy has ever lost was the championship game against the Eagles. Other than that, he's winning every single other game he's ever played.
Yep, that's how it's going. That is wow.
Yeah.
Well, how about we jump to another quarterback? Your boy Sam Howell.
Yes, Sam Howell and the Washington. I still call them the football team. I like that. I just love calling them basically Washington. But Sam Howell is starting to do it. I mean, I go back to that draft. I think of the two best quarterbacks were Pickett and Howell. Pickett is banged up now and kind of sucks the way that's going. But yeah, Sam Howell is really starting to play well against teams that allow you to play well in the secondary. I think if we go back to the Buffalo game, I think that really tells us that Buffalo is one of the better secondaries in the NFL. So some of these younger guys are going to struggle against them. But Philadelphia is a team that you can attack in the secondary, and Sam Howell did that. He did that with his legs. He did it with his arm. Looks like only one touchdown here. Still got absolutely demolished from his offensive line, not really protecting him. But almost a 300-yard day and completion percentage, like we said, basically right at that 75% benchmark. So good stuff.
Yeah, the only problem is AJ Brown went for 175.
Oh yeah, they'll do it. Yeah, 175 and 2 touchdowns. So we can comfortably add Washington and the Miami Dolphins to the mix of teams that you can just throw on and have no resistance whatsoever. So yeah, we saw it with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Josh Allen last week. Now this week we see it with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts.
10-4. I mean,
yeah,
they were neck and neck. I mean, it was kind of weird to see Washington kind of banging it out with Philly like that. And I was like, oh boy, this is weird.
Yeah, especially at Philly. And Washington played them tight last season as well. I'm pretty sure what's his name? The guy that wears number 4, not Trace McSorley. Yeah, I'm forgetting that guy's name, but he played quarterback pretty well for them, kind of hit and miss. But he actually won one of their games against Philadelphia last season as well. So it may not be a win, but Washington is going to play Philadelphia tight. They're used to them. They're in the division. They know how to play against them. So you are going to get those tight games out of Washington.
Washington's a lot better than people give them credit for.
They are. I mean, I'm a little concerned on the secondary, but between their offense and kind of how they play with that, I mean, even like the run game for going up against a tough offensive line like the Eagles, basically just gave up 100 yards rushing and 1 touchdown to everybody. So DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hurts, that was it. So other than that, all the damage came in the air. And that's what Washington has to do. If Washington can clean up the secondary, they'll be a playoff team.
Nice. I think is that all the games for this week?
Boy, that is all the games for this week. So that's everything. We still got the Monday Night Football game, the thriller, the 7-0 thriller between the Seahawks and the Giants. But that's it.
Woo!
That's all of them. So yeah, so we got all our games. We'll have your boy DJ Triggs do some homework, see where we rank on the standings between us fighting sickness up here in the Great Lakes. It's been a little tough as of recently, but we'll figure this out. But we have that. We both have the Seahawks winning this game, which they are. And we'll do that. And then we got our week 5 picks tomorrow. We even got some teams on bye weeks. We finally got bye weeks for the season.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hey, now, how about that? So a little bit some stuff going on there. We'll see what we got, and we'll take from there. So yeah, we got some. You want to showcase a video game or anything you got behind you?
Yeah, let's do it. We haven't done this in a while.
We have. It's been a week. It's been a few.
It's been a week.
Yeah. It's been a week. Totally.
I can't remember what was the. Oh wait, I remember what the last one was. Now it took.
Oh, yeah.
Graphics.
All about the graphics.
Gotta flip the camera here.
Okay.
Boom. But one of my favorite all-time football games that people don't remember.
Is it NFL Blitz? Nope. It is.
It's
I don't even.
No, Super High Impact.
Oh. Okay. So it's like the red team against the Dallas Cowboys?
So, I have no idea. They were like knockoff teams, but they could fight. It was great.
Wow. That's baller. There's some crazy stuff there. Wow. So yeah, there you go. There's a
just
video
fighting.
Oh, okay. So basically basically my Raiders Chargers game from yesterday when that Tilly just jacked up Justin Herbert on the sideline, and then they just went at it, and that was your game. So you could add them to that video game you got there. That's how you do it. Guy got flagged for like 15 yards and tossed. So I never saw that guy again for the rest of the game. But yeah, that's how you do it. So with that, I got my belt of the day. We're having a wardrobe malfunction over here. Yeah, we'll see if we can get it. Okay. All right. Yeah, a little tough with the camera shot. But we got here we go. Here we go. Still got the Star Wars. We got the cartoon Star Wars belt. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So how about that? Kind of a newer belt, part of the rotation, but yeah, we're going with that. So there we go. I guess one final update on the game. We got 7-3 Seahawks over the Giants, and that's it. So that's everything for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow again. You'll have us here both at 7 o'clock Central Time. You can see us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we'll see you there. So yeah, for that, I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy DJ Triggs. Yeah, buddy. And yeah, buddy. And that's No Debate.